Hello again and welcome to my video. Now, this type of content is pretty different from the content that I usually make, the videos that I usually put out. So, let me give you a brief background before we get into the purpose of this video. I have spent the vast majority of my life either watching people play video games or playing them myself. I grew up watching my dad play on his PS2, play on his PS3, and then of course play on his PS4 as we upgraded over the years. From playing games like Call of Duty, Final Fantasy, Assassin's Creed, Crash Bandicoot, Call of Duty, you name it. And I was right behind him playing. Controller in hand, mashing buttons, not always understanding what's going on, but having the time of my life. So that means that I have spent the vast majority of my life around consoles and controllers. As I was getting older, I did play some of those PC games, those flash games, where you mostly just moved around with the arrow keys, right? 2020 came around and eventually I did get a little more into PC gaming, but at that time, the game that I was mostly playing was Transfer Mice, which is a little mouse platformer, which also allows the inputs of the arrow keys to kind of move around and do your thing. Of course, you didn't need mouse controls, so you only needed to really be adept with one hand in order to play the game. As I continued to game on through the years and I made more friends and branched out into other games, things like DBD, Raft, Left 4 Dead, The Forest, and now I also play a lot of Overwatch, I continued to struggle with mouse and keyboard. Obviously, games like that don't really use the arrow keys for movement at all. You use WSAD and you use your mouse to move around. But those games also, for the most part, allow the use of a controller. So, I always used controller because at that point, my brain was so tied to the arrow keys, I had a really hard time comprehending WSAD. So, if the game allowed controllers, I used my controller, and if it didn't, I found a way to make it so. So that means I was playing games like Dead by Daylight, which is the game that I make most of my content around, with a controller, and I have been for the last few years. And Overwatch, which I mentioned, a game that I play, a hero shooter, mind you, I also play with a controller. Now, for the most part, I have been able to get away with using a controller playing Overwatch because I play Mercy, who is not a character that requires intense aiming. So I don't have to worry about having the fine movement of being able to flick and track and aim like you can on a mouse because it's just not required. Every once in a while, though, I do get that inkling to play a DPS or a damage character, and I'm still playing on controller. And the biggest issue with that is that I am not a controller playing in console lobbies. I am a controller user playing on PC lobbies. Now, I'm sure as soon as I say that, you can immediately see where the issue is. Because when you play on console and you use a controller, you don't have the fine movement. The smoothness is kind of there, but you don't have the ability to really control even just the tiniest movements with your toggle stick. You will miss a lot. So they give you aim assist, which helps you, of course, aim. PC does not have that at all if you play with a controller. If you play with a controller, you're SOL. You better hope you're good at aiming, which is not impossible. To be okay at aiming with a controller, you're just never going to be good with a controller as somebody who plays on mouse and keyboard. And I've played with a lot of people on Overwatch over the years, top 500 players, big name players, people who are just insanely good at aiming. And of course, they all use mouse and keyboard. So, I have decided to take the time and dedicate a journey to using mouse and keyboard, to learning WSAD, and to just aim training. Because I really enjoy Overwatch. I enjoy shooter games, and for the most part, that's what's popular amongst PC players. Shooter games, anything from like Call of Duty, Overwatch of course, Valorant, Destiny, Halo, the list goes on. So that's what leads me to this video. You can see in the background I have footage of a game or a program called Kovaaks, which is on Steam. It does cost money. It is not a free aim training game, but I invested in it to continue my journey of learning to aim. As of recording this video before starting this session, I had just under 6 hours of aim training, but it was 6 hours that was pretty much broken down into 30-minute sessions over the course of like 2 months, right? It wasn't consistent at all. I am going to dedicate myself to at least 1 hour of aim training 5 to 6 times a week using Kovaaks in order to improve. Now, the biggest thing with aiming and learning to aim and learning to be good with aiming is time. There's no magic trick that's suddenly going to make me the best aimer in the world. It's going to have like the most accuracy, the smoothest tracking, the quickest, most accurate flicks. The only thing it takes is time. And since that's what it takes, that's what I'm willing to do, is put in the time. I'm hoping to be as consistent as I can and make videos like this at least once a week where I show the playlist that I'm using on Kovaaks and just make a video of me going through it and talking about my progress and my journey as I continue to hopefully get better. Right now, I am just playing the beginner playlist, the kind of default one that Kovaaks gives you. I think there's like a default, an intermediate, and an advanced. It takes me usually 30 minutes to get through this track, so I could play through this track twice a day to kind of reach my goal. Each scenario is played twice, but I went through and I'm only showing one playthrough of each scenario just to kind of help save on time. I'm hoping to do this scenario for maybe the next 2 or 3 weeks as I continue to start this journey. Hopefully that will kind of get me to where I need to be, like a very good starting level to push on. And you can definitely tell from the footage, I need this practice. My tracking in the beginning was kind of okay. It still wasn't great, but my flicks are terrible. My accuracy is just not it. So that's why I want to start this journey. If you are interested in following me on this journey and seeing how I progress, feel free to subscribe or follow me on Twitch. I am thinking about streaming some of my aim training sessions. We'll see how that goes. If you want to keep up with other content from me, I'm pretty much on every social media platform you can think of. My digital footprint is huge. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week after a few sessions where I'm hopefully just a little bit better. Enjoy the video.